Welcome to the Better Beth podcast. My name is Erin, and I am very excited to have the wonderful Nicolas Grimaldi on today, who is a osteopath that I have been following on Instagram. He has an amazing Instagram account as well as TikTok, a huge following, and he does amazing work. So welcome, Nicolas.
Thanks for welcoming me on your podcast. And as I said offline, definitely a big fan of yours too. And my community knows you, and that's how I learned about you. So I'm an osteopath since 2007. I did study 6 years full time in Atman, a school in south of France, and I worked for a few years in France, and then I had the opportunity to move to Malaysia in 2010, which I did. Best decision of my life. One of those big decisions you take, the few and big decisions you take in your life that will change completely the course of your life. And I'm really grateful for the community I've known here. They have welcomed me, the country, the people, fantastic. And thanks to them, I'm where I am and who I am today because they've supported me for the past 15 years in Malaysia. And I've always wanted to do pediatrics and women's health because during our studies, we did quite a lot of training around that, but particularly during my 6th year, I had a workshop with Viola Freiman, who was 82 years old at that time, and she's basically known to be the mother of pediatric osteopathy. And she was a direct student of Sutherland, who is the founder of cranial osteopathy, himself a student of the founder of osteopathy, Andrew Taylor Steele. And that workshop was really life-changing. It really opened my mind to what was osteopathy and the benchmark that I have to chase. I'm only 18 years into my osteopathic experience, besides my 6 years of studies. She had more than 50 years of osteopathy in her hands. And when she put her hand on my skull, I just had, I'm not a mystic, but I definitely had the craziest experience because I felt my skull opening. She was showing us the techniques that she was teaching that day, and we were the assistants. So they said, "You come." Few of us. I was one of them. Put our hands, on our skull, and I felt my skull opening. And when you have these bottles of Coca-Cola, when you uncap them, there are bubbles going through, and that's exactly what I felt through my skull. She opened my sinuses, and I felt that. I never felt my skull so light, and she, "Oh, you had a difficult birth," and she described my birth, and wow, she knew because she had touched so many skulls, so many babies. The tissues, they will tell you. And that day, I understood what osteopathy was. And I'll be honest, I'm still far away from being able to reproduce that, but every day I'm learning, and it's an exciting journey because we are helping people. We are changing the course of many lives. And osteopathy is definitely like an extraordinary tool.
So can you tell me what is osteopathy? Because I think there's lots of people out there that don't know what osteopathy is. I did use an osteopath for my first child who had quite a traumatic birth, and it definitely worked and it definitely helped. So I'd love you to explain what osteopathy is.
So as osteopathy is really a toolbox, which is fantastic, and it has a strong philosophical spirit and really embedded in science, in medical sciences, because it's all about anatomy, physiology, neurophysiology, etc., etc. And that's what we do all the time. It's just that we look at the body like as a machine, which it is. With machine doesn't mean that we are a car or a computer. Machine means that we fall under the rules of mechanics and physics. That's it. To ensure function, you need to create movement. And to create movement, you need to have different structures moving together. It's like a Swiss watch is one of the examples I always take. It's like a Swiss watch. You have 500 or more different pieces. They have all like a very precise shape. They all together in a very precise order to create a movement. You disrupt the shape, you put a micro grain of sand in the middle, and it's going to screw the system. This is what mechanics means. This is what the laws of mechanics mean applied to a biological structure. Our body, it's a biological machine, connected, controlled by an electrical system, which is the nervous system. So the biological side of it, it's the signature of life. It's the fact that that particular machine, that is our body, has the ability to repair on its own. So there is a vital system, there's a vital force within that has that ability to engage into repair and maintain the system alive. And that's the particularity of that biological machine, but it's still a machine. So that's what osteopathy is basically. We work on the mechanics and we work on the vital system. Fascia, cranial, biodynamic cranial, tissular techniques. This is the work we do on the mechanic because it's still tissues and that vital system that we improve and push to maintain the machine always strong. So basically, this is what we do as osteopaths. Osteopathy basically is a manual therapy, which involves nothing else but our hands. We don't use tools. It's based on, I would say, communication with the body. We have developed a sensory touch, allowing us to feel, perceive the different changes in the tissues, in the mobility of the tissue. We are basically the mechanics of the body. It's if you consider the body as a machine, which it is, controlled by an electrical system, we basically a machine is a system that is through the production of movement ensuring certain functions. It's a very mechanist approach, but it's close to reality if you put aside the mind, the psyche, etc., etc. But when you put it back together, then it all makes sense. And so to ensure all the functions of the body, the mechanical functions of the body, all the structures, the bones, the fascias. Now it's the new trend. Everybody talks about fascias. And it's a technique that comes from osteopathy in the first place, which should be integrated in osteopathy. It can't be externalized. Like cranial osteopathy, you have cranial sacral therapy, which is just one of our techniques that has been extracted and doesn't make sense on its own. It has to be integrated in the whole philosophical approach of osteopathy. So that machine has to move in all directions of space. Every structure has to move perfectly, whether it's a bone, whether it's an organ, whether it's any other tissue. And that machine, if there are disturbances, whether it's a surgery, you have scar tissues, and that's particularly for women after C-section. We see a lot of problems due to C-section. It became very trendy, very easy kind of surgery, but it's still a massive surgery. We cut your abs, we cut your uterus, and yes, you're out after a few days, maybe, but how much it impacts your body, this is not talked about. This will impact the way that body works, and that's where osteopathy intervenes. So it's known for back pain, neck pain, all kinds of aches and pains, sports injuries, and stuff like this. But in the field of women's health and pediatrics, it's something really big and really important. It's crucial. I would say, without being too nosy, like osteopathy for me is the best approach that exists when it comes to mechanics. It's a very, very, very powerful set of tools put together within a philosophical realm that is very, very strong, and with a very strong core with anatomy, physiology, all the medical sciences. And it really all makes sense that it's really efficient in few sessions to solving a lot of things that no one else can solve the way we do it. So we accompany mothers or future mothers during their pregnancy. Again, aches and pains, all kinds of things that may appear because the body changes tremendously during these 9 months, and posture changes. And if your structure, that machine again, is unable to adapt properly, the curves can't adapt, your position can't adapt, then you will start to have back pain, neck pain, headaches, um, a tremendous need to go to the toilet. You're going to start to have issues walking. You're going to have pubic pains and stuff like this, sciatic pains, all kinds of things that will appear simply because your body is out of balance and can't adapt to the changes properly. And this will have an impact on how your body can receive a delivery from a mechanical point of view.
So can you talk a little bit about some of the trends that you see in Malaysia? Because obviously the system in Malaysia is very different from the birthing system in the UK, and you're probably seeing maybe different trends or maybe similar trends in terms of the people that are coming to you who have had a baby, or maybe the baby themselves are impacted. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
We have too many C-sections. In any said population, the maximum acceptable is around 10 to 15% maximum. One of the big lies that I hear on a daily basis, not just once, but every day, many times. In Malaysia, 38 weeks, bop, 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 they ring the bell. It's due date, we need to bring the baby out.
38 weeks.
38 weeks. 38 weeks. First of all, I don't know how they calculate the 38 weeks.
UK is 40.
So exactly, Malaysia is 38 and 39. The hospital is about to explode, and 40 is the end of the world. So I explain to people, look, in our species, it's anywhere between 38 and 45 weeks, roughly. And half of the deliveries, they happen naturally after 41 and a half weeks.
Yeah.
I never see that in Malaysia. I never see a delivery after 40 weeks. I never, except mothers that are really like into their body sports. They have their own, they made their researches and they understand things. And they're chill. Yeah, right. Thankfully, we have few doctors that are delivering twins or bridge baby naturally. I think there are 2 or 3 in the country. And we have one hospital doing water birth. One hospital in a country of 30 million people. So I can tell you I have a lot of work. I
I,
have a lot of
this is what
work.
I was going to say. This I can understand why you're so busy. If everyone's being induced at 38 weeks, and they're probably all cascading for instrumental births and C-sections, you
Yeah,
must see so many birth injuries and so many babies that are compromised by their birth experience.
yeah, that definitely. But there's a lot to do, and babies. Obviously, pediatrics is a big chunk, and I'm glad. I mean, I'm blessed. Not just glad, but I'm blessed to be trusted by so many families for so many years. And now I really have a population which they come to see me during their pregnancy. Within the first few days, in many cases, I see the babies, and we can do great work because um, the, the particularity of a birth is that, again, it's a mechanical event. Let's First of all, it's a mechanical event. There are biological things happening, fine, fine. But first and foremost, it's a mechanical event. The baby's head's going to be squeezed through the birth canal. There will be, on a natural basis, there will be a remodeling, a complete reshape of the skull and a stimulation of the spine, a lot of the lungs, the chest, everything. But there's the reshape of the skull. And this is meant to activate the brain, activate the nervous system to prepare the baby for the outside world because we are changing environments. And our species is extremely particular in terms of the structure of our intelligence, the structure of the abilities we have developed in the outside world compared to other species. Not saying that we are superior, but we have certain sets, particularly the fact that we stand compared to other apes. There are lots of things that are put in place during the delivery. And it's a mechanical event because, as any mechanical structure, basically you have two particularities, two elements of two features in any material on Earth: density, flexibility. The denser you are, the less flexible. The more flexible, the less dense. It's overall the rule. The question is, how does the said material react facing a constraint? There are three ranges. If the constraint, the pressures that the material will receive, stay within what the material can absorb, when you release these constraints, the material goes back to its initial shape. And this is the definition of a natural birth. If you go beyond that limit, you enter the range of deformation. Before it was the range of deformability, then you enter the range of deformation. Basically, the constraints, the pressures will be so strong that the deformation, once released, will not go back to the initial shape. And this is the traumatic birth. And if you go beyond that, the material breaks. And that's it. Rules of mechanics. We can't escape them. This is how it is. So when you start to have forceps, vacuum, very specifically these two tools, due to the pressures exerted on a small surface, these pressures, and particularly not particularly, but uh, forceps is a different kind, but vacuum, it's a negative pressure exerted on a small surface, on a tissue that is soft. What's going to happen? And a tissue that is soft, and underneath you have the meninges, you're pulling the whole system, you're screwing the balance completely. And this is what I see every day, all the time. with these babies that can't latch, have vomit, they have injury. Yeah, the doctor will say, yeah, it's gonna go away, etc. But it's an injury. There must be certain consequences underneath, and that's where osteopathy intervenes. So, long birth, short birth, again, from a mechanical point of view, too much pressure, too long, too much pressure, too fast. Even lying down, legs up, is against the rules of nature, the physics and mechanics. It's against it. You are in a position where you're supposed to bring something from up to down, and you're lying down like this. Plus, you can't move your spine. You can't rotate your pelvis. How do you want a baby to go through your pelvis if you can't open the pelvis up when the baby's head is in and open the pelvis down to facilitate the passage, plus the lumbar spine that will accompany? I'm not a woman, but I can understand that a woman feels the baby going through the body. It's meant for that. Mm. So there are things that don't make sense in the approaches we have today. And that's why I find myself in a position where I have a tremendous amount of work. And as my social media now is quite extended, I receive so many messages. My baby has exactly what you described, etc., etc. And these things are quite easy to release in osteopathy. Cranial deformations. How do you get there? Oh yeah, it's fine, everything is fine. No, it's not fine. There's supposed to be a certain symmetry in nature. They move erratically, they can't arch properly. Maybe around 4 months when they are supposed to turn, they don't turn, they can't turn, they can't do tummy time, they can't crawl, etc., etc., etc. And all these elements are signs of mechanical imbalances. Again, you have to diagnose potential medical conditions that exist. Yes, fine, but they are not that common. They are not that common, and they are quite obvious and easy to find. But when you have a baby that is having latching issues, for example, this is something that I work a lot on. What do we say now? Oh, it's a tongue tie. So we have to cut the tongue.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? Because I saw on your Instagram that quite a lot of the time you're seeing people who are having problems with breastfeeding and latching issues, tension in the neck, potential tongue tie, and I imagine that's something that you see very often. So can you talk a little bit about the tongue tie and how osteopathy can help with that?
The frenum is a natural structure which has nothing to do with latching issues. Latching issues are due to mechanical imbalances. The shape of the palate is very commonly disrupted when you have a C-section, because a planned C-section, because the baby doesn't go through the birth canal, there's no remodeling of the skull, there's no reorganization of the spine and to put in place certain the reflexes. What I explain to parents is there are two big steps during a delivery. The first step is when baby goes and pounds against the cervix. This will create a pump that will start to expand the skull from up to down, and that pump will start to stimulate the spine, start to implement the first stimulation of the reflexes, neck, thorax, opening of the thorax, and lumbar spine. And that's what I see when I treat emergency C-section, babies that are already engaged 2 centimeters, 5 centimeters more, And when they pull them out, these babies, they have good reflexes usually because they went through the first step, which is that pump. And that's why you have slow contractions, which are basically bringing the vehicle in place. And then we accelerate. And then baby opens the cervix. And then you have lateral contractions, and expansion of the spine to further integrate the reflexes, which will finally be fully integrated or finished to be integrated, but usually even before they are, when baby's head goes out, passes underneath the pubic bone, in it the neck reflex, in it the back, and the lumbar spine. Why? Because baby, from the moment of birth, is meant to do the breast crawl. It is a survival reflex that we have because we are attracted to the source of food. And you put a baby born without medication because the medication will completely drug them through a natural delivery without any intervention. You put baby on mommy's tummy, they will crawl to the nipple. And for that, you need your reflexes to be activated. And it doesn't work with planned C-section. The reality, the clinical reality is that some C-section babies, some planned C-section babies, will be more or less functional. Some, they are not functional. Some, they are more functional, and in rare cases, there's no work. They are fully functional, but I see maybe 2 or 3 a year, and I provide thousands of treatments. I mean, we have 8 osteopaths in the clinic, and we see the same things. So everybody is going to come with her own story because we are talking about mothers explaining my baby was born through C-section and he was perfect and we had no problems and da da da. The lecture we have as osteopaths is not the same as one will have being a parent without that knowledge we bring to the table. So what I tell parents is things are very simple. When you deliver your baby, the pediatrician or the team, they take the baby, measure the baby, ABGA, 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes. They check the baby to make sure that everything is fine. Just bring your baby to an osteopath. In any type of delivery, doesn't matter how you think the delivery went, as well as you think it went, just bring your baby to an osteopath. Have the baby checked. If there is an imbalance, the osteopath will be able to diagnose it and treat it early. The earlier, the better. If there's no imbalance, thank you, congratulations, go back home. Everything is fine. This is a message that is not told enough by osteopaths or not known enough by the public. You accept the idea that your baby is checked by the medical team, but you don't think that it's worth having it checked from a mechanical point of view. The medical team, they don't work on mechanics. It's like bringing your car for just a check on the painting, the external thing by an artist, and it's, oh yeah, it's beautiful and all. But what about the mechanics? Get your car checked. Everything is okay. You don't go and buy a car just by looking at it from the outside. You go and buy a car after doing the whole checkup on the mechanical level. It's as simple as that. You know, it's interesting because I'm writing a book now on all these things, and hopefully it will be out by before the end of the year. So I'm gathering all this information. I've done a lot of research, And I was born in Africa. I grew up in the Caribbean islands, so I've been with other cultures and traditional cultures. And in every culture around the world, and every traditional culture around the world, they do take their babies after birth and they massage these babies. Indians are crazy about that. Every time I go to India, in the streets, you see they bath their baby and they stretch them. I mean, West Africa are the greatest techniques ever because they understand the mechanics of the body like no one else. They remodel the skull, they have massages, and they massage their babies for stretched massage for weeks, for months. I mean, you do half of these stretches and massages in Europe, half of the population will have a heart attack. The way they move their babies, stretch them, and you're like, wait, how do they, in their traditional settings, have the strongest babies and strongest people? Beautiful teeth, beautiful posture, beautiful muscle structure. It's not just birth, because there's also food, there's also physical activity. Later on, there are many things that we are missing in our societies. I mean, we eat junk food, we give to our kids and babies soft food instead of hard food, etc. We give sugar, etc., etc. But it starts with birth. And these traditional cultures, everywhere in the world, you go to Far East, Russia, you go anywhere, they massage their babies. Because they understand, and that's the power of we human beings, is that we have the ability to understand situations. And we see something that has happened to this baby is not as vital, it's not as strong. What can I do to strengthen this baby? And that's where osteopathy intervenes. There is a whole science around osteopathy. Osteopathy is called pseudoscience and stuff like this. I don't even want to enter this debate because it's all about science. It's all about medical science, and we understand it way better than anyone else because we apply the mechanics, the laws of mechanics, the laws of physics to our system, to our body, which is what it is. We accept that idea that everything else on earth is about mechanics. You take sportsmen, they analyze them through their movements and stuff like this, but we don't analyze it the same way for delivery, for pregnancy, for a baby that goes through the birth canal. I'm sorry, I'm a rational person. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to do in terms of education, and I'm glad to have this conversation with you, and because we work together. You accompany women. You teach them that how to take control of their body, how to take control of their mind through breathing. What kind of signs will tell you that your baby is about to arrive? Where's the culture of looking for the signs associated with a natural event, which is a delivery?
Mm-hmm.
And there are plenty of signs. There are plenty of signs. And we don't look for them. And this is what you do. And that's how you educate women. Again, they are the center of the action. A lot of people nowadays believe, yes, but humanity for thousands or tens of thousands of years, there was a huge rate of death in birth and all. No, there was a huge rate of infection at birth.
Yep.
Not delivery death. It was not that. It was infections because people were putting their hands. You had in Europe the butcher delivering women as well, or the doctors, they were touching cadavers, and then they were going and put their hands on them, on these moms. This is what has changed. Hygiene. A lot of things have to do with hygiene, but we've lost the rational skills. And I can tell you there are certain things that are due to the water we drink, the food we drink, the additives, the hormones, the pesticides, and all these things. And I think the world is starting to acknowledge that, and hopefully it continues like this.
I think it's interesting you mentioning about the pesticides and all of the chemicals and things, because I think people are quite conscious of that, right? We're quite conscious of the fluoride that's put in the water and the eating organic food. When it comes to birth, I feel like all of that goes out the window. People don't think about the opiates that are given to us during labour, the synthetic oxytocin, the pitocin that's given to us, the synthetic prostaglandins, all of these drugs and all of these interventions, and the lasting effects those have on both the mother and the baby. Not to mention all the mechanical side of things that you've just mentioned, the impact that, an induced labor has on contractions, which has an impact on the baby, which then ends up as an instrumental birth or a C-section. I think all of that awareness is not there when it comes to birth at all. Outside of birth, I think we are more hyper vigilant of what we're putting in our bodies, and then when it comes, even when it comes to cancer treatments or taking paracetamol or painkillers for a headache, people are like, oh no, I don't like to take things unless I really need it, and then you get pregnant and it all goes out the window. We don't think.
I mean, yes, but the thing is, there's still a fringe of the population which is educated, and there's a fringe of the population which has gone through a certain experience by lack of knowledge and experience. The first time,
Yes,
second time, yes,
I wanted them.
yeah, but and it brought you to that path,
Yeah.
and they look at things differently. They educate themselves. They start to question things. I do agree that there are strong forces that obliterate people's vision and ability to educate themselves. But yet, by nature, we are people, human beings go through experiences, and we learn from our experiences. Not everyone, not all the time, not every time. But I see mothers, first time, things happen like this, but deep inside you, this is not the experience you wanted. And they reassess, they educate themselves. And that's where we are. We are the vehicle of this education. And it's not everyone's gonna be happy with what we say. Some will say that we are crooks and charlatans and all kinds of names under the skies that I've seen. But you know what? I see the results I get every day. And whatever you're going to say, I know exactly what I do, the results I have, the parents' experiences, their testimonials, and I know exactly what I'm doing. So it doesn't bother me, because like any belief system, you have people who believe and some people they don't believe, and they fight, and we're all the crooks and of someone else. We are all the stupid to in the eyes of someone else. We all like, it's fine. At the end of the day, for me, at least in my position, I mean, every day I help change the life of kids and families. And when a baby cannot latch, Today, that same baby had so-called tongue tie snipped at birth. It didn't change the latching issues. When he came out from the session, baby could latch. And mom will experience it immediately. And this is what I do every day. So you could tell me that, yeah, the results you have, they are not proved. But when it's repeated, when it's systematically the same structures, medically acknowledged, medically identified, the vagus nerve, the glossopharyngeal nerve, the first vertebra, the palate, the shape of the palate, and systematically have these results, you can say whatever you want. I don't care. Because come and see me, listen to the parents. Look, my baby had this problem, he was vomiting after the third session, no more vomiting. There was latching issues immediately, I could latch like never before. This is osteopathy. This is what we do, and it's based and embedded in science. But some they will choose the science they want to believe in, and it's fine. At the end of the day, people will choose, and they will see where the results are. And that's it. It's as simple as that. And it's the same for you. You're in the same position.
Yeah. No, people think what I teach is woo and out there, and it's not. It's science. Hypnobirthing is science. It's psychology and physiology and understanding how one affects the other. But some people, like you're right, some people are just not there yet, or they need to experience a certain type of birth before they're open to exploring alternatives. But I think doing things like this, right, and having podcasts like this, and getting that word out there, and just maybe planting the seed so that people are more open to it, I think is really important. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking about, what it is that you do, and why people should maybe explore, osteopathy before they have their babies, and afterwards for both themselves and their babies. And you're doing such amazing work. So thank you so much for your time, because it's been an absolute eye-opener and a pleasure chatting to you about everything that you know. I could listen to you all day.
Well, I listened to you as well, because I told you when you reposted my post, I had all these mummies, the doulas that I know, the hypnobirthing. Oh, she reposted it. I love her. I follow her. Wow, you should work together. And then I contacted you. Every time there's a professional like this, I like to say hello, have a chat, exchange a word, because this is the community we are in, and now we have access to that community far beyond our local reach, but internationally. Now I'm connected with people in the US, in Dubai. A lot of people are asking me for podcasts. I usually don't really accept, because I have a lot of things to do, and if you start to, you never end, and your days, you have to manage your time. But my community, they love your work, and this is one of the reasons why I accepted to come today, because we need more people like you, and we need to spread the word out on natural birth, natural approach. Again, for me, the final word is women must be empowered and be the main actor of the most important moment in their life, because it will only happen one time every time, and it has to be the most beautiful experience for them, for the dad as well, and by extension the family, because it's welcoming life in your family, and you build a life through the memories you gather, and this memory must be cherished and protected.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll end on there because I think that's a gem to end on. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and I can't wait to put this out there so everyone can listen to it. And if people want to find you on Instagram, where can they find you?
So, Nicolas Grimaldi without H, you will find me quite easily, or Nico one osteo, Niconesteo. You'll find me easily, and thanks for the support. And I hope my work will be of value to you. And I try to really talk about things that other people don't discuss about. I show before and after. I really integrate a lot of knowledge to empower parents, whether it's techniques for themselves to take care of their babies, and also spread the word of osteopathy because it has great benefits for everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.